Hi, welcome to Photoshop CC 2021 Classroom Notebook Chapter 7. This is Typographic Design Part 1. So in the last chapter, we went ahead and created this head with the kind of the shadow, and now we're going to go ahead and turn it into a magazine cover. So let's go ahead and open up that start file. Let's do a file save as. I'm going to make sure I'm in my Lesson 7 folder. I'm going to do a first initial last name, underscore, Photoshop, Classroom Notebook, Chapter 7, and save. I'm going to add test to mine just because I've already done this once. Save. All right. And the next thing we're going to do is let's go to our image and our image size so we can kind of see what we're working with here. So we can see our image size, it's 8.5 wide, it's 10.5 tall, so we know it's a little bit short as far as full piece of paper, which is 11 inches. Resolution is 200. You could bump that up to 300 and click the preserve details and say OK. And that's just going to make it add a few more pixels here and there. So when we're working with print, that's what we want to do. So let's go ahead and we're going to create some clipping masks and create the title. So let's do a Control S and save. And let's go to our window and our workspace. And let's go ahead and choose Graphic and Web. It's going to change things up just a little bit. All right, so we're going to create a clipping mask from type. So a clipping mask is an object or group of objects that shape masks another, so only parts of it are visible. So we're going to go ahead and create a clipping mask to create the title. So let's do a view, fit on screen. All right, and let's make sure we can see our rulers. Let's do view and make sure your rulers are showing. Let's go ahead and drag a vertical guide from the left ruler over to 4.25, so that's halfway. So we just click and drag, so 4.25. And we're also going to drag one. Nope, we just want one. All right, so now let's go ahead and with our layers panel, let's go ahead and go to our background layer. And we're going to go ahead and do our horizontal type tool. So we'll go over to our tools and click our horizontal type tool. And we need to go ahead and choose a serif typeface, so something with feet. So let's go ahead up here to our top, and let's go ahead and grab a Minion Pro, if it will let me. Minion Pro. And I just want Minion Pro regular. Okay. And let's go ahead for my type point size. Let's go ahead and say it's 144. We want to go ahead and center the text. Black is fine. For the tracking value, so we could also be doing this over here, the tracking value is the V/A. Let's go ahead and turn that to 100. All right, and that tracking value specifies the amount of space between the letters. So we're going to position our pointer or the center guide right here. We're going to click, and we're going to type the word lorem ipsum is going to appear, and that's fine. We're going to go ahead and change that to digital in all caps. All right, and we like it, so let's go ahead and commit those changes right there. So now we're going to go ahead and double-click digital to edit it. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we are in our, and just go ahead and double-click it. It's going to change us back to our font. And let's go ahead and go to our font family pop-up menu. So over here we've got our font family. And let's go ahead and what do we want to do? Let's choose a different one. So let's go to Myriad Pro Semi-Bold. So we can click down, it'll give us the different choices for Myriad Pro, and we want Semi-Bold. All right, so let's go ahead and commit those changes up here at the check mark. And let's make sure that we move this. So with our move tool, let's kind of move it so it's centered right here above, about the top-ish. All right, and why am I getting... I don't like this one. So let's go ahead. Oh, I have Minion Pro, not Myriad Pro. That's why. MYRIAD, Myriad Pro. Semi-bold. Aha. That is going to change the look of that. All right, that is much better. All right, so we've got digital, Myriad Pro. Mine's still too small, so let's bump it up to 144. When we're working with clipping masks, we want to make sure that we have enough letter here to actually clip that image to. So we want to go ahead and make sure we click that. So we've got our image, we've got our clipping mask. So let's go ahead and save what we've got so far. Next thing we're going to do is create our clipping mask for digital. So let's go to File and Open. And we're going to grab that circuit board file. So File, Open. And we want to be in our lesson 7. We want that circuit board.tiff and say Open. So it's going to go ahead and open up that file for us. And now we're going to go ahead and look at them side by side. So let's do a window. Come down here to Arrange. And we want 2 up vertical, so they'll appear side by side. And we want to go ahead and click on this circuit board. And we're going to go ahead with our Move tool. We can hold Shift and drag it over to the background layer onto our file that we're using. So click and hold Shift and bring it over to our working file. So now we have our circuit board that we're going to attach to our words. Pressing Shift makes sure that the image is centered in our composition. So we can go ahead and close our circuit board TIFF. And now we're back down to what we needed to have. So let's go ahead and choose Edit and Transform Scale. Transform Scale. And we're going to hold Alt or Option as we drag, and we want to go ahead and make it about the same size as the font. So I'm going to hold Alt or Option, and we're going to make it about the same size as that font. And go ahead and bring it over just a little bit. So pressing Alt or Option also keeps it centered. Let's go ahead and reposition it over top of that layer. So our layers should have the model, then should have our circuit board, then should have our words digital. So let's go ahead and double click on the one that says layer 1 and rename it circuit board. And hit enter. It's always good to label your layers as we go. And so now we're going to go ahead and select that circuit board layer, and we're going to do a right click, and we're going to do a create clipping mask, which means go ahead and stick it onto the letters that we have down below here. So that's exactly what we want it to do. So let's do a Control S and save. So now I want to go ahead and add some layer style to digital. So let's go ahead to the FX down here at the bottom. So let's select digital. All right, go to the FX here at the bottom. And we want to go ahead and choose inner shadow from the pop-up menu. Want to give it just a little bit of depth. Make sure that you have your preview checked so you can see what's going on. So let's go ahead, make sure that that blend mode is set to multiply, that our opacity is set to 48. We want our distance to be 18, our choke to be 0, and our size to be 16. And I'm happy with that. So let's say OK. See how it gives it kind of a nice look. And it adds a little bit more dimension. And let's do a Control S and save. So we'll go ahead and pick up with type and a path on the next video. See you there.